Hey, welcome back to the Keystone Carnivore podcast. And in episode number 8, I speak with Kaitlin Kramer. She has a passion for health and fitness. She's formerly a softball player at Mansfield College in Mansfield, PA. And if you tuned in to a couple podcasts ago, Kaitlin is the sister of Kaitlin Kramer. And Kenton is the one who got me into the carnivore diet. So Kaitlin shares her thoughts on how carnivore has really helped her, how it's helped with her powerlifting and other things related to mental clarity, just quality of life, and better sleep. So again, if you feel like this podcast helps you, a friend, or family member, please share this with them. Enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to the Keystone Carnivore podcast. And my guest today is Kaitlin Kramer. Kaitlin is the sister of Kenton Kramer. And if you listened in on the podcast before, Kenton was on episode 2 of the Keystone Carnivore podcast. But today our guest is Kaitlin. She has a passion for health and fitness, trains related to powerlifting with that kind of training regimen. Also played softball in college at Mansfield College in Pennsylvania. And Kaitlin was referred to this diet through her brother, Kenton. So Kaitlin, welcome to the Keystone Carnivore podcast today.
Thank you, Corey. I'm really glad to be a part of this.
Yeah, so we were talking a little bit before before we were getting on the show here, about what approach you followed previously to carnivore. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were following before?
Yeah, so before it was just pretty much the macros, counting my food or the standard American diet, and just like guessing and I guess consciously eating. But yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people come from that background. Higher carbs, whether it's anything above 50% to maybe 65%, and a lot of it is coming from whole grains, fruits and vegetables. And now a lot of people in this carnivore movement, they're starting to realize that maybe, high carbs isn't the best way to go.
Yes, I completely agree with that high carb, low fat diet, and I was fatigued, hungry even more than I am now. It just wasn't satisfying.
So with your powerlifting background, and also your softball background, were you following the standard American diet then too?
Yeah, I mean, I basically just ate whatever, and I was told that carbs is where it's at, so I would carb load like crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And for some sports, maybe that does come into play. I know for myself, before the high intensity weight training programs and workouts that I go through myself, yeah, I need just a little bit, but not as much as what they recommend on those fit your macros diets, the standard American diet. I know sometimes it was up to 500 grams a day sometimes. So crazy amounts. But anyway, we're talking about how you heard about the carnivore diet. How did you hear about it?
So I heard about it through my brother, Kenton, and he just kind of told me about it, and he was trying it out, and I decided to give it a shot, and I definitely fell in love with it.
Okay. So getting into carnivore, how many, was it months or a few years now that you've been into it?
Honestly, it's only been like a couple months now, and I want to say probably it was March, and then May is like when I really started noticing a huge difference.
Okay, so 2 months in, from March to May, did you face any challenges with that so far, with transitioning into it?
From before, like the beginning, it was definitely my sweet tooth and that wanting carbs. That was a challenge. So I just kind of like weaned off of it, and then of course, like I told you before, the pork rinds with the cinnamon on it, they taste like churros. I think that really helped with my sweet tooth.
And these pork rinds with the cinnamon on it, where can you get those at?
Amazon.
Oh,
Just
Amazon.
type
Okay.
in cinnamon pork rinds. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because usually, up here they have those in Pennsylvania at like the Sheets, or Rudders, at the gas stations like that. Sometimes, they do have a lot of calories and you can get carried away, but that can be a
Yes.
good way to combat that sweet tooth. Um, do you still snack on those too?
Very little to be honest, because the amount of like ribeye or like fat that I consume, and then also my brother taught me using the Celtic salt and putting it on your tongue helps with my sweet tooth, and it definitely does. So I'll just have like a couple a day, if that. Some days I won't even have any, and it literally comes in a big plastic like I guess bottle. It's yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So
and
yeah, I don't eat them as much.
and I'm looking around here. Usually, like I have a bunch of those salt shakers at my place here, but I can't find one. Nothing's, I can't. There's nothing within reach right now. But that's always, you kind of can treat that like a supplement too. Sodium's not
Yeah.
as bad as what people made it out to be, especially that Celtic sea salt, um, however you want to put it. But that's really good on whatever kind of steak that you use
Yeah, it's
too.
delicious.
So you mentioned about the ribeye. Is that what you focus on mostly, or are there other types of foods that you like?
So ribeye is what we were focused on, because my boyfriend does it too. So we were
Right.
focused on that mostly, and eating that in the morning with some eggs. But honestly, I've like cut back to sirloin, and I eat a lot of cod with it. So we've been incorporating some fish too, and some shrimp, but and then New York strips, which are my favorite.
Yeah, same here.
They're so good.
I know they're so good, but also at the same time, they are a little pricey too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
I go to the butcher place in Publix, and then I have them just cut me a bunch of sirloins and have them for breakfast or anytime I'm hungry during the day, and then of course dinner.
okay. Um, so do you follow like maybe like a fat cycling approach? Do you eat some more fattier cuts on certain days than you do like leaner cuts?
Yeah. So I was speaking with Kenton, and I've wanted to accomplish like a certain figure. So these this past week and this next week, I've been focusing on lean cuts, and then I'll start incorporating in the fatty cuts again. So yeah, I guess yeah, pretty much a cycle, just to see how my body handles it, because everyone works differently. So
Yeah, and that's the thing with carnivore too. I've been on this thing for about 2 years, and again, Kenton he referred me to do this after following a ketogenic approach. One of the big things I noticed is that you can get carried away with the fat grams. So, yeah, if you are eating about
yes,
2 pounds of ribeye a day and you're not moving, a lot and there's not much physical activity during the week, yeah, you probably are going to gain some unwanted weight. I noticed that too with the 70% ground burgers, the
Oh,
70-30.
yeah.
Yeah, they taste really, really good, but you can get carried away with that uh,
That
very quickly.
I had that same problem, that and bacon, and I noticed I was starting to, like, my cellulite, it was just getting bad, like, on my legs, and I was like, Kenton, I've never had this before, and he was like, that's when he told me to try the leaner meats and then cycling, and I'm already noticing a difference. So.
Yeah, and just cycling in the leaner meats too. You know, I follow Sean Baker too on Instagram, and I
Yep,
believe right now he's starting to cycle leaner meats. I don't know what
the fat.
what type of leaner meats that he's cycling in, but obviously it's working for him. So it's really, really good stuff.
Yes, I was watching him too, and he was eating a lot of cod as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be another lean source of meat too. Anything animal based, is definitely
Yes.
the way to go with that. Now, would you say that you're 100% carnivore, maybe 90-ish%? Do you have a little bit of plants in there at all?
Um, I I had some asparagus like a couple times, but other than that, I'm majority of the time carnivore. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually good evidence that shows we really don't need plants. Um, you know,
Yeah.
we don't need to rely on fiber as much. Again, we only have one stomach. The cows and the sheep, those kind of animals, they have the four stomachs, so they can break down our vegetables for us.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. I'm all about the meat.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, we're talking about really excellent stuff here, really valuable information that, we'd like our listeners to hear. Now, before you were talking about powerlifting. So,
Yes.
have you noticed big numbers in your strength gains after switching to carnivore with powerlifting background?
I will say, for my squat, since I've been training and before I wasn't as heavy on powerlifting. And I just, like, a few months ago, I just got back into it. But my squat, I'm easily repping like 225 for 10. And before that was a little rough. So I definitely, since I've been on the carnivore, and my joints feel amazing. And yeah, I feel very strong and full. And then also I've added in the beef bone broth as well. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Beef bone broth. Okay. Any particular brand that you have?
I get it from Bay Naturals. I forget. I can actually go get it. You want me to get it?
Yeah, yeah. Let's take a look.
All right.
See if everybody can take a look at what you have there.
What's up, man?
That's Corey.
How you doing?
What's up, Corey? I'm all right. How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Okay. So it's called Bonafide.
Okay, yes, I think I've seen that before. That probably has like how many grams of protein per cup?
Per cup it has 10.
Okay. Yeah, and usually,
Yeah,
most of them have like about 9 grams in there.
yeah, it's good stuff. It's expensive, but I like it, and I feel like I notice a difference when I do drink it.
Awesome. So you're talking about the squat. You're able to rep out 225 for about 10. Do you focus on the bench and the deadlift too?
Yes, and my deadlift, I feel like it's obvious it's stronger than my squat. So deadlift, it's usually 10 pounds, like 235, and I can do that for like 8 reps. And then my bench, I do like 115 for 8.
Okay.
Oh.
So you're able to do those big moves. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're able to do these big movements with less joint pain, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And that's, a big thing that people really report of, enhanced recovery, less delayed onset muscle soreness.
Yeah, I don't feel sore the next day like I usually have before, like not being able to walk, that soreness in your legs after doing squats or deadlifts. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's definitely, we can attribute that to all the micronutrients in this type of diet that we weren't getting from a high carb diet. Your zinc, your magnesium, and believe it or not, and I know people are going to argue about this, but potassium. And
Yeah.
I've even seen things that show there's more potassium in bacon, and it's a better source of potassium than it is bananas.
Wow, I didn't know that, so that's good to know.
So yeah, I believe I saw that on a post on Instagram. I think it was Lone Star Keto Girl, Amber.
I
She's on.
follow her. Yeah.
Yeah, she had a good thing on there about that too one time. So definitely take a look at that.
Okay, I will.
Okay, so we covered the joint pain, everything like that. What other benefits have you noticed as far as your focus and mental clarity?
Definitely mental clarity and alertness. I just feel like I don't know. I'm driven, but I feel like even more driven when I'm on this diet, I guess. Like more motivated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So I feel like it's helped me all around, like even with work, because right now we're not allowed in the field with the work that I do, so we're working from home. So I feel like I'm being more productive.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the main things that I noticed too when beginning this thing 2 years ago. Not only with carnivore, but any particular high fat approach too. And I think one of the things you can look at is that your blood sugar has no time to crash during the day. It's nice and even through, from the time you get up to the time you get to bed. So definitely being able to focus at work, reading things, understanding things. And one of the things I was talking about with your brother and a couple other people too is that I wish I would have known about this in college because my GPA would have probably been higher.
That is so true, though. Because, I mean, in college, I just ate whatever. I didn't really follow anything. And I can't imagine, like, if I would have followed something like this as far as academic-wise and then my sports, man, my performance could have been amazing.
Yeah, and I think we all, look back on that, our time in college, and just wish that we would have had this back then. We could have been better athletes and better students too.
Definitely.
How about now? This might be a different benefit, and I don't know if you've noticed this yet. Only being in to carnivore for 2 months. How about sleep quality?
Yes.
Okay.
And even Christopher tells me, like, I sleep like a rock. So I definitely have noticed sleeping. I feel great when I wake up, and just through the night, I don't wake up like I used to.
Okay. And then how about like in the morning? Because I know a lot of the times on the older diets, that we used to follow, it'd be like a struggle to get out of bed. How is it now?
I get right up and get right to whatever I need to do that day, and yeah, it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, and that's one of the big benefits a lot of people report to on the carnivore diet. I don't know if you ever thought about this, but so in beef, beef is a thing that we're consuming a lot of in the diet, and that contains a lot of iron, and iron helps with oxygen distribution, and circulating that through the blood. So I would say that is probably one of the reasons why we're getting better sleep, from the amount of iron that we're getting in there.
I believe that. And the zinc, right?
Yep, zinc is also going to help too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kaitlin, if you're talking to anybody new about this approach, okay, say you have a friend that you run into at the gym, say you got a training partner at the gym that's doing powerlifting with you, they're on your standard American diet and high carb approach, and they're seeing you succeed with carnivore, and you're thriving and you're setting PRs. What's the first piece of advice that you would give them if they're considering carnivore?
I would definitely say like mental, like you're either in it or you're not. Like just like know what you want for your body, and not only that, for your future. I mean, you're setting your future up for success too when you're taking care of yourself. So I just really think like you're mentally like have that mindset that you're going to do this. And I mean, if you have to start off slow and cut your carbs back to like 50 grams or whatever, and go from there, and then just kind of wean off of them. Because I know usually that's people's downfall, because that's what we were taught, and it was engraved in our minds that that's the right way of doing things. So yeah, I think mindset's everything for sure with this. And then once you start seeing results, then feeling the way you feel, it's like why go back?
Definitely. Yeah, and everybody's gonna have to find out for themselves whether they do cut it down to 50 grams, maybe it's 100 grams, but I think we can all agree that lowering the carbohydrate intake and increasing the amount of red meat that we eat, that we haven't been used to for years and years after what we've been told, the lies that we've been told.
Yep.
That approach can have some benefit in some way to somebody. So Kaitlin, if anyone after this podcast wants, to ask you questions about your powerlifting routine, about, softball and your experience with carnivore, where can they find you at?
They can find me at my Instagram, on my Instagram page, which is Kramer Competes, and they're both with K, with a K, Kramer with a K, and Competes with the K, 54. So they can find me on there, or Kaitlin Kramer, Kitlin, and then Kramer. You can find me on Facebook as well. Yeah, just feel free to reach out, and any way I can help. And I'm still learning this as well, so maybe we can help each other. And don't be afraid to fail too. Like, I mean, I beat myself up, and I speak to Kenton about it, and he's like, it's okay, we're human. Like, you're allowed to have that one donut or that 2 donuts, and just get back right on the horse and get back to it. But yeah, just make sure you have mindset.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun when you do have a training partner like like that with him, because I know we do follow the carnivore approach 6 days out of the week, and then I remember for the longest time we were going to Sheetz, the mall, to Dairy Queen, Texas Roadhouse, all those places. So, just having that one day. And that's how they, honestly, that's how they used to do it back in the 70s. It was the steak and eggs diet. And then one day they would go to, the bodybuilders would go to Venice Beach and have whatever they wanted.
You have to have that day. Like, it's healthy. I feel like you got to live a little bit.
You do.
So, and it's just, don't beat yourself up about it too. If you fall off a little bit, just get back on it. So,
yep. It's very true.
And I think, and knowing that too, you're able to tell like how your body reacts, and you can really see the difference between what you put in your body then. And then, like, if I do that and I feel like crap, I'm like, I want to go right back to the carnivore diet. Like, this sucks.
Yeah, sometimes going on this can be a good thing. And when you do go to those, like, really highly processed foods like ice cream, candy, donuts, Pop-Tarts, pizza, it can really show you how bad those foods can be for you.
Yes, definitely. My gut swells and it hurts and my joints feel inflamed.
Yep. I hear that a lot on this.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, Kaitlin, thanks for coming on today. I'm sure, you and I are going to be chatting down the road and in the future about your successes. But once again, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Corey.
So again, a big thank you to Kaitlin for taking her time to come on the show today. And her success story is similar to a lot of other success stories we've had on the podcast. Reports of mental clarity, decreased joint pain, improved performance at the gym. And my question to you guys is, do you really hear about this coming from the standard American diet? Do you really hear a lot of people reporting that, oh my gosh, I followed, my plate and the food pyramid, and I've had outstanding results? We want to perform at the best of our ability in the gym, at our jobs. And this diet, it's an approach. Sometimes we do get carried away with the word diet, but it's an approach that you need to follow. And not saying that you ever have to get rid of plants. Yeah, there's carnivore variations where plants are built into the diet. One of the main things as far as plants goes is digestibility. It's shown that we don't really need a whole lot of fiber in the diet. But a good reference is to follow Stan Efferding's videos, and he actually talks about the FODMAP diet and talks about digestibility, of certain vegetables and fruits that humans can digest. So it's an approach. You have to learn yourself, figure this out for yourself. And it might be a little hard work in the beginning, but it's definitely worth it. And as Kaitlin talked about, when you do go back to some of those junk foods like pizza, Pop-Tarts, pancakes, all those highly processed foods, highly processed foods with high sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, it's really going to show you how bad those foods can be to your health. So again, hoping that this channel helps you, a friend or a family member down the road. And if you have any comments or questions, please share them below. Thank you.